Okay, welcome to Deep Stretch. This is a 60-minute class. We'll have kind of more that yin stuff going on, stretching, holding poses, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, some of them. And then there'll be a little bit of maybe quicker movement in between things every now and again. We'll have with us 2 blocks. If you have a blanket, even a bolster might be nice, but definitely working towards a couple props to have. If you don't have 2 blocks, 2 blankets can work in lieu of them. And we'll get started today in our let's start in a pose where we're on our backs, and you can choose how you want to plant the feet or work with the legs. So Baddha Konasana will be the pose of the week. So you can do Supta Baddha Konasana, right? Reclined cobbler's pose, where you lay down on your back, put your feet together, let your knees fall apart. You can also do laying on your back, legs long. And sometimes what I really like is just a laying on the back, feet planted, knees buckled in. And that might feel really nice on the low back. So you choose something on your back, however you land there, whatever feels right for you. We'll start with a deep, deep breath in. Fill up, expand, take up space. And then exhale, just let it go. Take a deep breath in. Fill, 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 fill up some more. And then exhale, let it go. Finally, a long inhalation. The longest breath in, really feel it all the way into your collarbones, the top of the lungs. And then exhale, just sigh away, settle in. We had a new moon last night, or early hours of Saturday, I suppose, in Pisces. This season, we've been focusing on the Pisces energy, the fluid and the emotive landscape, our emotional being. And it's also the last of the 12 zodiacs. So it's all encompassing. And this energy really is about being, less about doing, creating through action, and more about receiving just through that energy of being. So as you lay here, notice how it feels. What's it like to be in this moment? Taking on those check-ins through the body. So the feet, the ankles, the calf muscles, the knees, the thigh bones, the hips and glutes, the low back, mid back, upper back. Notice how your hands and wrists and forearms feel, your elbow creases, your upper arm bones, armpits and shoulders. Travel into the neck, the jaw, the scalp, the skull, the brain. What's it like to be here right now? I'm going to share some thoughts with you as we consider, and we're holding this pose, the energies of Pisces. Like yoga, it helps us recognize that we are connected to the vast knowledge of the universe at all times. The idea is to see it within us right where we are. So our asana practice is just a tool to help us arrive where we are, into our bodies, into the moment. Let's take a few more cycles of breath here. Deep inhales, full exhales. Last one, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And exhale, let it all go. If your legs are long or your knees are apart, let's bring them together. If your legs are long, let's bend them and walk them in, bringing the knees together, the feet to the ground. And if your knees are buckled in, let's just walk the feet together. Everyone tip over onto a side, pause and take a long breath in and a full breath out. It's challenging for us to just work on being, right? To find stillness. So give yourself a chance to plant that seed here. One moment longer, a deep breath in and a full breath out. And then slowly you'll come up to seated. Find that comfortable seated posture. You can sit on your blanket or a bolster. And let's just let the legs go long. Let the hips be slightly elevated if you can. Take the toes in and out with the legs long and apart. Sitting on a blanket or bolster just kind of helps us tilt. You want to sit at the edge of the prop so the pelvis is slightly forward. And then let's just twist to your left hand behind you, right hand to the knee. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, look a little further. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, bring it out. Inhale through center and take it over to your right as you twist. Breathe in for length. And exhale, look over that right shoulder. One more round, sitting taller. Breathe in. And exhale, breathe out. Let's come through center as you breathe in. And then grabbing one of your blocks in front of you, we're going to take this into our fold. So, might feel like a lot on the back of the legs, the hamstrings, right? We talked about maybe including those in today's practice. Feel free to bring props that help you stay a little more elevated here. So you might have 2 blocks. You can kind of fold, rest your forearms and rest your head. If you want to take this deeper, you'll go a little further. I don't have a preference whether you're rounded super far forward or more on that extension. Just do what's comfortable for you. Allow the chin to tuck in. Once again, you might notice you're flexing the feet quite intensely. See if you can soften the arches, soften the feet. Work more into the fold. A little release from the low back, a little stretch for the back of the legs. We'll stay here for at least a few minutes. So be patient with the pose. You might have to come out of it a little bit. Go back in if you feel any numbness or tingliness in the joints. Make sure to come up, work it out, point flex, and then settle back in. I'm going to set a timer. So we have, stopwatch. There we go. This week we talked about prajna, the intuitive wisdom, the innate knowing within us. And ultimately our practice of yoga is to bring union with that quality within us. To know that we have, again, within us, the entire universe, all the answers we might ever need. Just a willingness to see ourselves and our potency, our possibility that takes arriving into the present moment. It's not found in the past, it's not in the future, but right where we are. Find your breath. Breathe into all of your being, your low back, your mid back, the back of your heart, your upper back and shoulders. Notice what you can let go of as you exhale, where you might be clenching or holding. with pace of your breath. How you feel where you are. The idea is that this energy of Pisces is helpful in quieting all the noise around us. It's asking us to be still and just be. And so we can get a glance or a glimmer of this inner knowledge, this innate knowing or intuitive wisdom built into every cell of our being, every bit of us. Take a long breath in, fill, all the way to the back, and a full breath out. You'll slowly sit up tall. Let's move those props on out of the way and off to the side. Shake out the legs. Once again, turn the toes in and out. And then you'll find a comfortable cross-legged posture of your choice. Again, you can stay seated on the blanket or bolster, giving the hips a slight elevation above the knees. Let's let the hands come beside us. Inhale, reach that right arm up, and exhale, bend to your left. Draw that right shoulder back, look up to the ceiling, breathe in. As you breathe out, allow the left shoulder to soften, maybe bend the left elbow more deeply. Look to your right fingers as you inhale, stretch. And then exhale, soften the gaze, sit up tall, inhale. Exhale, draw those shoulders back and down. Inhale, reach the left arm up to the ceiling. And then exhale, pull over to your right. Look out past the left fingers, breathing into the left lung. Allow the right side body to soften. Even pulling that left shoulder back a little bit. One more inhale. You can look down with the exhale and breathe in. Sit up nice and tall. Bring all that fingers to the ground. Let's reach that right arm up once again. Breathe in, reach the right ribs a little more spaciously. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, draw that right shoulder back. As you exhale, bring that right hand to your left knee. Inhale, sit up tall. And then once again, twist to your left. As you exhale, left hand can come behind you or can start to wrap around the low back. Taking the back of the left hand to your outer right hip. Looking past yourself, that left shoulder. Inhale for length. Exhale to twist a little deeper. Take one more deep breath in. And exhale, unwind. Left arm reaches as you breathe in. And exhale, bend over to your right. Inhale, draw that left shoulder back. And as you exhale, bring that left hand forward into the right knee. Plant your right hand behind you as you sit up tall. Inhale. Exhale, look back and behind you, and then maybe even wrapping that right arm. The back of the hand can find, you might just have your forearm resting on your back. You might get that hand all the way to the outside of that left hip. You take the back of the hand and press it gently in, pulling that right shoulder back. Breathe in for length. Exhale to twist. Take one more big inhale. And exhale, unwind. All right, let's take ourselves onto our backs for a little back bending here. So if you have a bolster or a blanket, you can roll your blanket up like a burrito. And we're gonna take this actually for supported fish. So if you have two blocks also, that's doable. So I'm just gonna show this to you. If you have a bolster or a blanket, it'll support the head. Hopefully the hips come all the way up to the props. The arms lay out to the side. The legs can be long as you just kind of settle into this pose. The chin might be in the micro tuck. You don't have that available, even just a block behind the back of the heart might do. And if you have two blocks, you can always place one on the lowest setting under the head. So, so many places to go to explore this. So this posture of opening ourselves up, right? We think about you see it like dogs, when they're being submissive or they're opening up, they're showing, I'm inviting you to come pet me. They'll do that belly up, that exposing of the most vulnerable selves, right? Our gut, our soft belly, where all of our vital organs exist. So when we splay ourselves up and open our hearts, if possible, to the moment, just kind of that essence the body's taking on is we're receptive to what is already within us and to the potency of the moment at hand. As you lay here, we'll be here for a while. Ask yourself, how does it feel to just be? The state of being, right? Remembering that peace comes from trusting the process. Are you comfortable in this state? Sometimes it's hard for us to receive our potency, our possibility, our superpower. Trust our gut, our intuition, our instincts. But the more often we do it, like a muscle, it grows stronger. We have to be paying attention to hear it. Get more clear with it. Take a long breath in, and a full breath out. And we have several minutes here, so be patient with the pose. There's no hurry to get out of it. And if you need to take a break, you can always roll off to the side and then climb back in. So you stay with breath and stay in the pose just for a short while longer. Notice what helps you observe the chatter of the mind, the fluctuations in the patterns. What are the emotions? Breathe steadily in. Fill full, empty out as you let go. One more inhale all together. Let's breathe, breathe, breathe. Fill, fill, fill. And exhale, let it out. You'll walk your feet in. You'll roll off onto a side. You'll pause there once again, just to be for a moment before we transition back to moving into the practice. Let's just inhale, 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 and exhale, let go. Coming up to seated, kind of work open the collarbone. Let's just find a nice comfortable seat, your choice. If you do cross-legged, maybe sit with your non-dominant leg in front. So the opposite way in which you sat last time. Once again, you can sit on the blanket or bolster. And then let's just take those arms up and overhead. Breathe in, grab opposite elbows. Try to get the fingers, even the palms onto the elbows. Fingers wrap around. Press hands into elbows, elbows into hands, and exhale. Side bend over to your left. Inhale through center and exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale through center, exhale to your left. Inhale through center, exhale to your right. Come back up through center, switch which arms in front. Inhale through, sit bones down, hands into elbows, elbows into hands. Exhale to your left. Breathe in, breathe out to your right. Do that one more time. Inhaling through the middle, use the exhale to go to your left. And the next exhale to go to your right. When you finally come through center, let's reach up, reach up, reach up. And exhale, allow the arms to fall. Okay, so we'll take our pose of the week, Baddha Konasana, Baddha Konasana. We're gonna take the fold version of this. So what I like is 2 blocks, feet together, and if you can on your mat, use the block at an angle. So the smooth side, right, the flat side is actually resting up against the leg. That's a wonderful way to support the legs a little taller and not feel the hard edge of your prop. You can also lay something over a blanket or a towel. If you're turned and the edge of the mat, the ground beneath you kind of slides the blocks out, know that you can always just rest them a little higher up the legs. I would suggest maybe more toward the thigh bones, so you can keep those knees a little more supported, so they're not doing as much of the work in the hips and the hip flexors and the abductors, AB abductors, ABD, right? And then your blanket, you can roll it up like a burrito, lay it in front of the belly. You can lay it over the feet. That might feel nice, and kind of tuck it underneath the shins. And then slowly you'll fold forward. If you have more props, you might find something under the head. Allow your weight to release. Try to just be. So instead of creating action in your muscles, your joints, we're trying to reach and stretch and create the shape. Just try to settle into it. Open up to the shape. Once again, we'll be here for at least a few minutes. So make it as comfortable as you can. It's hard for us to do nothing, right? It's like it's put around us. It's in the culture we live in. It's maybe things we've been told our lives to do, to accomplish, to achieve. what this energy, this season, this Pisces quality is saying that we already are. We can just come to be, see it where we are, instead of outside of ourselves. As you work on, being the more and more through the practice, the regular yoga practice, but this focus practice this week, building into our intuition. Notice, what does it feel like when you, what does your intuition feel like? Do you trust it? Do you rely on it? Or in certain cases, is there a place you lean into it? There's not a right or wrong answer to these questions, just things to consider. Remember that doing nothing is an art form, one that expands us in ways actions cannot. So the work you're doing now is quite specific. There's a quality to it, a potency to it. We discover it through, practice. Long breath in. Full breath out. We're in this fold a little longer than the other fold, so just be patient with it. And if at any point in time you feel any of that numbness, that tingliness, then come on out. Let's take 3 more deep inhales and exhales in this pose. Last breath out. Slowly, so slowly sit up tall. Allow the blocks to come out from under the legs. Move any of your props aside or shake the legs out. Sit up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in. Point and flex your toes. And exhale, just let your shoulders fall. And sorry, excuse me. We're going to slowly work to our backs. I'd love for us to take some twists before we get into inverting our legs. And so what I'd suggest is getting your blocks, maybe your blanket, if you even have that bolster beside you, so you can create an open twist. I always like to open the left side of the body first. So your knees will go to your right, okay? Your chest will be open to the ceiling, and you've got a few options. You can place, so you'll come onto your back. You can place the blanket between the legs as the knees go to your right. You can also place, kind of like we did for Baddha Konasana, a block underneath that right knee. And then it might feel nice to just have something up against your left ribs as you twist over to your left with the gaze. Sometimes I like a bolster just to kind of rest along. If you have two blocks, you can again move that block between the legs as well. If you want a little more support for the arms, you can have a bolster or blanket underneath that right arm. So knees are to the right, maybe a prop between the legs, a prop beneath that right leg, even underneath the right arm or over to the left. You choose how you want to use your props. Something might feel good if you explore it, okay? So intuitive wisdom, the unique wisdom of our own innate knowing, takes a little playing with, and we have to be curious. So play around with your props. Notice how they work for you, which ones feel real good, maybe which ones feel a little less ideal in this moment. Take things out, add them in, make it work for you. We're here for a few minutes. So yeah, enjoy, make the most of it. Let's take a long breath in, a full breath out. Another deep inhale all the way to the collarbones, the chest. Exhale, let it out. And then let's look to the ceiling. Move the props out from the right side. And then bring the knees through center. Pause, feel your soles, feel your toes, feel this moment. Again, take a deep breath in. A full breath out. And And then we'll move the knees over to your left. So you might scoot the hips slightly to your right. Might bring a block, blanket, bolster between the legs, underneath the left leg, maybe underneath the right arm or the left arm. You'll choose what you need. And this side might look, again, very similar to the other side, or it might be completely different, what you have going on from one side of the body to the other. Really depends on what you've been up to, how you've been up to things, what our dominant side is, if we're nursing an injury or old habits or patterns. So get curious. When we're moving from intuitive knowledge into deep knowing, they're not external or biased assumptions, right? It's like this deep down knowing. And to get to know, to really truly know deep within your bones, your being, it's a feeling. So explore that innate knowledge, the intuition, the ability to trust the process. Let's take a long breath in, a full breath out. Once again, a deep inhale, and a full exhale. Bring the knees through center, your feet to your soles, moving the props aside. Let's, on our backs here, take a moment. We're just going to work into the back of the legs for just a little moment. Okay, so left leg can stay planted as you hug the right knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze. Maybe take the knee towards the armpit and then over towards the left nipple and then back in towards the chest. Finally, extending the right leg sole to the sky. Grab a hold wherever you can, keeping your head and shoulders on the ground. Point and flex the toes a couple times. Roll the ankle in both directions. Breathe in. Let's draw that right leg a little closer to the upper body. Keep your hips on the ground as you breathe out. And then slowly let your right leg go along. Let your left leg meet it. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Set your right foot down. Hug that left knee in. Maybe squeeze it towards, again, the armpit. Then reach across for that right nipple. Back into the knee towards the chest. And then inhale, straighten the left leg. Grab a hold behind the left leg wherever you can, keeping your head and shoulders grounded. Point and flex a couple of times. Roll the ankle around in each direction. Take a deep breath in as you draw that leg towards the upper body. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Breathe out. Soften that tension, that clenching, and then allow that left leg to meet your, come down, right leg to meet left. Inhale, stretch them apart. As you exhale, both knees into your chest, give them a squeeze. Let's rock a little side to side. And then finally, getting inverted. You have the choice to take legs up the wall. We'll be here for a bit. You don't have a block or anything to prop yourself on. You're just going to take your legs directly up to the ceiling. If you have a tool like a block or a bolster, you'll lift the hips, slide it behind the sacrum, okay, so the flat of your low back, which is a little bit higher than the back of your tailbone. And but both legs lift up, one leg lifts up, followed by the other. The arms can just kind of splay out to the side. And if you're taking this to a wall, you know, my rule of thumb for legs up the wall is you always go back first. So instead of trying to do both, right, a lot of action, think slowing things down. Get right up on the wall's business, come down on your back, then scoop your legs up. You can also do this with a couch or a chair, just resting your calves on the cushions or the ottoman, whatever, you know. There's a lot of places to go, but we're getting the legs upside down, right? Inverted. Sure. Yeah, shit. Nicely done. A really nice, juicy Shavasana for us. It's time to let it all settle after this. So this will be our last pose. Notice how it feels to be here. Any thoughts that come to mind? Any ways of thinking or being or doing that come up for you? And then notice if there's a chance where you can check in, let go, and work to just be. The energy of Pisces, like the ocean, helps to quiet the noise around us, giving way to our inner knowledge. Your intuition comes in waves of feelings. We often think our intuition is challenging to recognize, but once you learn to quiet your mind's fluctuations, these chitta vrittis, as we call them in yoga, your intuition shines through. And it really shows up with the vibrance, a lustrous experience. And sometimes that's what we're nervous about, right? They say the idea is that maybe we're scared to see just how potent and powerful we are. But through this practice of being and willing to see ourselves, we allow our light to shine brightly. And maybe from there we inspire others to shine their lights as well. If you're inverted, you can bend one knee in, followed by the other. Plant one foot down, followed by the other. Come on to a side. Pause, check in, take a deep breath in, and exhale, let it out. And then slowly working to your final resting pose, our Shavasana. You might take a blanket behind the head, a bolster behind the knees. If you have those blocks, those might go underneath the backs of the hands. Get nice and comfortable. You're exactly where you're supposed to be and exactly how you're supposed to be. Our ability to trust the process. Consider what that means for you. How can you surrender more to the wisdom life is handing you and trust that it's all meant to be? Breathe in, fill, take up some space, and then exhale, sigh, let it all out. Breathe in, expand, grow. And exhale, surrender. Allowing ourselves to receive through being. Notice the fluctuations, any thought patterns, any specific sensations in the mind or qualities of the sensations. And the sensations of the minds being the thoughts. What are the fluctuations? What do you observe? Your emotions, the energy moving through you, right where you are at the moment in time. Consider this resting pose a place to allow the dust to settle. All the effort we put in, those holding poses, those movement poses, the spaces in between. Notice how it feels to be where you are, as you are. Breathe in, breathe out. Just a little while longer. Start to pay attention to the breath. Notice the places it goes. The inhale, expanding you, taking up more space in the body and beyond the body out into that space around you. And the feeling of letting go with the exhale. What is surrendered? Where is the release, the ease? Breathe in. Breathe out. And taking that attention, that awareness, spread it out to your toes, your fingers, your wrists, your ankles. Invite movements intuitively, expanding, contracting. Hold on to yourself, hug on to yourself. Take in right where you are. A deep, deep breath in and a full breath out. If you're not there quite yet, you'll eventually work to a side, up to seated, finding the natural curves of the spine. So a few lessons from Pisces. Intuition is a superpower. Peace comes from trusting the process. Nothing is permanent. And it is possible to attract more by doing less. Take a deep breath in, fill, right where you are, as you are. And exhale, let it go. Allowing the palms to meet together over the heart, this place of union. The yogis in this ancient practice, reminding us of all things as temporary. Our innate knowing, our universal self as truly our superpower and connected to all things, all beings, past, present, and future. And simply bowing forward to seal your practice. Namaste.